coming.
Tell us what's behind this motion. What are your thoughts?
So over the last several years, as you know, not only have we seen a sharp rise in social disorder, particularly in the downtown core and at certain C-train nodes, but also a sharp increase in a sharp increase in crimes against property throughout the community. And a lot of people are very concerned about social disorder. I'll have a lot more to say about this on Monday. But when I talked to the young woman who bought a condo in the East Village so that she could live and work downtown, but now has to drive because she's not comfortable walking into her own building after dark, clearly something's not working well. And council has responded by increasing the Calgary Police Service budget, as well as by putting between $3 and $7 million a year in one-time funding into crime prevention initiatives. What's occurred to me, however, is that this is very episodic and it's very reactive. And the solutions that have worked well in the city are solutions where we bring the community together in what I call a systems-wide view. And my sense is we need to take a systems-wide view on mental health, on addiction, and on crime prevention, and looking at those things together. So what I'm saying to council is, rather than episodically at the end of the budget every year throw a few $1 million to this, let's take that amount of money, about $15 million, over the next 3 to 5 years, and just set it aside now so that we can continue doing the stuff where the money is running out and not have to deal with it every November and keep these nonprofit organizations wondering if the funding will continue. But also, let's set aside a little bit more money kind of to attract philanthropic, private sector, and other government funding for initiatives that the group will come up with that is systems-wide. It really is about massive increases in efficiency and money we're already spending on community safety, which is very much our responsibility, and on looking after citizens who are, struggling to manage the system well, because the system is horribly confusing to help themselves or loved ones who are struggling with mental health or addiction issues. So it really is about ending the stigma, figuring out how we work together to ensure that folks working through these issues have the resources they need, and citizens feel safe on every street in the community.
Now, of course, you'll know that there will be people who will say mental health and addictions. This is the province's territory. How would you respond to that?
Well, it's just not true. Community safety is very clearly the city's responsibility. And when you look at what we spend in Calgary Police Services, in bylaw, in fire, in various other initiatives through FCSS, that's Family and Community Social Services, we are spending a lot of money, enormous amounts of money, in a very uncoordinated fashion. And so it really is important for us to come together and do this. Similarly, the city had to take a lead in creating the 10-year plan to end homelessness. The city had to take the lead in the poverty reduction strategy. It actually, neither of those ended up in the city spending any more money, but they ended up in a system that spent the existing money much more efficiently. So I think it's exactly right for the city to use its convening power to take the lead on this, but to make sure, though, all of the various people who have a stake in this have the ability to come around one table.
Do you talk to AHS and find out, like, I know there a lot of resources are going towards mental health right now. Do you talk to them about what they're doing and what you want to do?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So the idea is we bring together Alberta Health Services, we bring together a giant web of on-the-street frontline agencies that are working with this work across the spectrum. We bring the Calgary Police Service and other stakeholders. We bring property owners in areas where they are seeing social disorder, and we do it around the table. Look, if this passes on Monday, and I sure hope that it does, we can talk about the money. It might be too much, it might not be enough, but the idea to bring the table together is so important. And if this passes on Monday, I'll use the exact same criteria that I used when we set up our poverty reduction strategy, which is the criteria to be on the table is you have to be smart and you have to be passionate about this issue. Beyond that, we'll take all comers who have great ideas.
Is this enough to address the hollowing out we've seen in the downtown? Isn't a large part of this problem the fact that you have downtown vacancies that are so significant? There's just not as many eyes on the street as there formerly was.
We've had this debate in some detail, and certainly there is an argument to be said that sometimes social disorder is diluted when there are more people on the street. That said, despite the downtown vacancy, we are far from being a ghost town. And so I particularly don't see those things as all that linked, because it might have been that those issues were a little less visible before. but they were still there. And ideally, we want to fix that.
Related to that, is there any corresponding increase for the police then? Or do you think that's?
Well, you know,
not-
we gave the police a ton of money, and the police themselves have said, listen, boots on the ground is a really important part of what we do, and those 55 new officers are desperately needed, and we saw that in the Police Commission survey that came out today. But they've also said we need a much better system of prevention, and we need a much better system of investment before we get to those boots on the ground, and that's really what this is about.
Thank you, Ken.